I am the man that can't wait for hockey to start, Thomas McKinney. With me, as always, is the man who gets his ties from the sales rack at Walmart, Art Carone. Art, how are you doing today?
Good, I get double discount.
Oh, very nice. And the man who is slightly dressed better than me, Mr. Chris Seha. Welcome back, Chris. How are you doing today?
Keeping it young, flying, flashy, just trying to make sure my best dressed day is not laying in a casket. That's all, baby.
Very true. I like that saying. So we have a heavy baseball show today with a Cubs recap from yesterday's game, a deeper dive into the NL playoff races, and then we're going to dive into the old guys leaving baseball, and finally make the picks for some of the big college and NFL games this week. But first off, I want to say this is the first live show for a show to be named later, and I'm glad that it's us three as the first ones part of this. So welcome.
Chris,
we are on YouTube right now. Enjoy the show, and you guys ready to get into this?
Do it.
Let's do this. You got something to say?
No, I'm ready.
Are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
So let's go. The Cubs had fallen once again to the Pirates 6-0 yesterday, with Chris Archer getting the win over Mike Montgomery, who Montgomery went 4 innings, giving up 5 runs on 7 hits. The big issue still is the offense. Now, Chris, let me ask you, that's obviously the big thing, but who is to blame for the lack of offense?
You're only having one key contributor right now throughout it, and it's pretty much been biased. For instance, last night, he went 2 for 4. He was the only one other than the top 4 in the lineup got a hit. Only 1 hit, and Baez got 2. And that was at the end of it. There's nothing to do there. You have to work better at bats and be more consistent with your approach and make the starting pitcher work.
Now, Art, everybody likes to blame Chili Davis. Is that fair to say, or is it more of just these guys are got to work through whatever funk they're going through this whole season, apparently?
Well, it wasn't just this season, it was also last season. They're missing their genuine leadoff hitter, Dexter Fowler, who was on the World Series team in 2016. Ever since he left, they had tried Kyle Schwarber. That didn't work. They tried Almora in the Happ combination this year. That didn't work. I'd say Zobrist is your best bet right now on this team, but he's 37. He can't play every day. And with Baez being an MVP candidate, it's one of those things where you have to find a way to rotate all these guys around. Brian hurt his shoulder again, so you don't know if he's going to be playoff ready or not. This team's in shambles, and they need to get this stuff going.
My thing, though, is how important really is Dexter Fowler to the overall grand scheme? Because he hasn't been lighting it up over in St. Louis. He's actually not even batting in the leadoff role anymore, and his numbers are even worse.
Right, but Joe's motto back in 2016, you go, we go. He's got to find a guy at the top of that lineup who's consistent enough on base, takes pitches, takes walks, and is able to let that offense go the way they should.
Well,
this team is underachieving mightily with Contreras, Russell, even though he's on administrative leave right now, and other people like Happ, who is so inconsistent you can't even play him on an everyday basis. He's not even a matchup guy. He's an off-the-bench kind of guy.
Well, I do want to correct you real fast. It's not Brian's shoulder. It was because he got hit in the wrist yesterday,
right.
so they kept him out of today's game for precautionary reasons. So it's not his shoulder. They're just trying to make sure.
Well, his shoulder was injured in his lack of power.
Yes, but we do have a quick update. The Cubs have clinched a playoff or postseason appearance. It's the 4th time in franchise history too. It's the 4th time they've gone 4 years in a row, with the Cardinals losing today. So we've obviously talked about the Cubs. Their defense has never been a big issue. But your leadoff thing, I want to ask this real fast, and both of you, Daniel Murphy, we picked him up. What do you think of him as the leadoff guy, which has worked so well so far?
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Well, I like the fact when you have Daniel Murphy leading off, and then you also have Ben Zobrist right there. It just sets the tone, lets that starting pitcher know they're in for a long day, because at the end of the day, both of those gentlemen are going to give you a professional at-bat, and that's something you can almost guarantee.
This is true, but what is Murphy? He's a liability on defense, and you have to replace him in the 6th or 7th inning. And what if you need a key at bat later in the game, in the 6th, 7th, 8th inning, and you don't have that bat like Daniel Murphy? You're going to bet David Bodie, who I love David Bodie, underdog story, but I wouldn't trust him in a playoff series over David Murphy.
Well, you guys make good points here, and I agree with all of you on both your opinions there. You both have the right points. But like I said, the Cubs have made the postseason for the 4th straight year. And the NL, as I've always said, I compare it to college football. NL is Power 5 compared to the American League as the mid-majors, and more so because it is now down to the wire, and the Cubs have just finally clinched a playoff spot. And the National Leagues now have 2 teams in the playoffs, and that is the Cubs and the Braves, who have clinched the division. So now you're waiting for the NL West to see who's clinching that division and the last 2 wildcard spots. So where do you guys think this whole postseason, I'll start with you, Art, where do you think this whole NL race is going? Because I know there's a bunch of scenarios going down.
This NL race is basically a game of musical chairs, but you actually might have a loser here because you have the Rockies and Dodgers vying for the NL West title, and you also have the Rockies a half game out of the second wild card spot. St. Louis lost yesterday. The Rockies vaulted them in the standings. Now they hold the second wild card spot. With St. Louis falling back even further, the Brewers are a half game out behind the Cubs. The Cubs are winning as we speak right now. But there's a very real possibility the Cubs have to play Monday, Tuesday, and next Thursday.
Yeah, that's a lot of games, and you're going to be, you and me talked about it before, that's going to be a lot of games where they'll have to use their starting pitchers, especially if it goes Lester, Hamels, Hendricks, or however they go those first three. Now, is that a big concern for you if it goes down to the tiebreakers and the wild card scenario for the Cubs?
Absolutely, that's a big concern because you want to go into the playoffs ideally well-rested, able to set up your rotation for the key matchups going along. And unfortunately, if you find yourself in the race where you have to qualify in order to make it, you're going to have to expend some bullets along the way in order to accomplish the mission at hand.
Now, Chris, I know he's the question asking, but who would be your game one starter if they say they clinch the division? Would you start Lester, Hamels, or Hendricks? Those are my top three.
Without a shadow of a doubt, it would have to be Hendricks right now. He's been pitching phenomenal over the second half of the season. I just can see he can continue to do that. Also, the pedigree. Obviously, Lester has a pedigree as well in the postseason, but Hendricks has shown you he's more than capable of handling that duty.
See, I would personally go Lester 1, Hendricks 2, Hamels 3. So you don't want to throw back-to-back lefties because you want to play the matchups. And if you do, for instance, play Milwaukee, who would have to play for the wild card and get in, we have a lot of ifs and buts. Milwaukee can run. You don't want Lester having to play them on the road.
Very good point. You don't want Lester, but Lester's gotten that pickoff move, and I like the little bounce pass pick over there. I don't know about how you guys feel about that.
Whatever works.
Yeah,
whatever it
works.
takes. I'm not gonna knock the man.
But all in all, and another quick update: both the Brewers and the Cubs have clinched a playoff spot. So we have 3 teams now in the National League clinched a playoff spot, unlike the American League, who has been clinched since day one, because we already know who is sort of going that route. But with now I want to take a look at the NL West more so. Where do you think the Dodgers will? Obviously, they'll be the 3rd team, I believe, in the standings. They'll be the away team in Atlanta. Where do you think they'll be in this whole playoff race?
Well, there is no guarantee because, like I said, they are a half game ahead of the Rockies, who are bludgeoning their game tonight 9-0. The Dodgers, if they fall back into the second wild card spot, they have a very real possibility of having to throw Kershaw in that play-in game, therefore messing up their rotation for any potential playoff series.
Chris, how do you feel about that?
Well, I feel that the Dodgers have set up very well because they're going against the Giants, who are actually trending downward. So that's a very good opportunity for them to go ahead and take advantage of that series.
But what do we always say, that familiar opponents, they want to play how
You
Cubs,
throw out the
Cubs
books.
Cubs play the Cardinals this weekend with the playoff spot on the line. Dodgers Giants, always a big rivalry. Giants would like nothing more than send the Dodgers packing for the winner.
Yeah, it'd be a good one. But it is time for our first intermission. But when we come back, we are going to take a look back at the careers of some of the guys playing their last games. So don't touch that tab here on A Show to Be Named Later.
Man, I'm so hungry. I need somewhere to eat fast. I have no idea where to go.
Psst. Hola, me llamo El Taco de Taco. You know where to go for the amazing taste that'll have you craving more? Taco Bell.
Can I get 20 tacos, please? Thanks, Taco.
De nada.
Good. That's it. Eat the tacos.
Taco Bell.
Throughout the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, Judy Finelli established herself as a masterful juggler and performer, making appearances everywhere from Carnegie Hall to Sesame Street. With her loving heart, she has brought warm smiles to children everywhere she has performed. She even started the San Francisco School for the Circus Arts. But shortly after, she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and by 2004, she was completely paralyzed. In celebration of her accomplishments and to fight the illness that had crippled Judy, a group of students from the San Francisco Clown College have compiled the perfect holiday present for those who want to laugh and to help those struggling with the illness. The goal has been set at $1 million raised, with 100% of any dollar made to be donated to the Judy Finelli Fund, which is helping find a cure to multiple sclerosis. Visit www.circuscenter.org to make a donation or to purchase a framed Naked Clown photo or the full Naked Clown 12-month calendar. Remember, 100% of every dollar is donated and goes to fighting MS.
Every 5 minutes, someone in the United States is a victim of bullying by a sober person.
Really? Drinking again? You guys are such losers.
You're such losers. Such losers. Losers.
Bullying by sober people leaves scars that you can't always see.
Losers!
Learn how to be better at stopsoberbullying.org.
Man, are you still working out? It's like 1,000 degrees.
Intense heat is nothing. To get an intense workout, you gotta be intense.
Our friend here's getting an intense workout with the intense cool of his Hydrotech Cool Breeze shoes, which brings your feet a cooling sensation that is the best on the market today. Can only be explained with one word:
Intense!
Whether you're working out hard or just taking a stroll, these shoes have got your back, or I should say, your feet.
Aren't these shoes intense?
Maybe a little too intense, but there's no doubt they're cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's this?
This is Vinny.
Vinny, what happened?
Well,
Everything get straightened out?
No, we had a problem. I mean, we tried to do everything we could.
What do you mean?
Well, you know what I mean. He's gone. And we couldn't do nothing about it.
Welcome back to a show to be named later. I'm Thomas McKinney. With me still is the $3 tie man, Art Carone.
I now have two of them.
Oh, you do? Wow, so you're $6 tie man.
No, because they're two different
All
ties.
right, fair enough. And with me still is the man who's still slightly dressed better than me, Mr. Chris Seha. So guys, as I mentioned, we are going to just talk about the guys that are retiring this season. And I'm going to start with you, Art. I know you had someone big who you wanted to talk about, so take it away.
Yeah, I want to talk about the original Japanese import, Ichiro Suzuki. Ichiro won the 2001 Rookie of the Year and MVP. The only person to do that before Ichiro, in 1975, Freddie Lynn for the Boston Red Sox. Ichiro had 3,089 hits in America, but he had 4,367 overall. But the U.S., the MLB Hall of Fame doesn't count that, his Japanese stats, or he would have broke Pete Rose's all-time hits record. His Hall of Fame itinerary is amazing. 311 batting average, over 500 stolen bases, and he had the single season record with 262 hits. I mean, 162 games? He had over 100 hits, so he averaged at least a hit and a half a game.
Well,
10-time All-Star, 10-time AL Gold Glover. Without a shadow of a doubt, that man is Hall of Fame first ballot.
First ballot.
Oh, first ballot, no doubt. But I'm going to be completely honest with you. When you texted me earlier about that, I totally forgot he retired because he retired back in like June.
Well, he retired, but he's still holding out hope to play next year because the Mariners open up in Japan, and they have a 28-man roster for those first two games, and he's thinking about coming back just to do a swan song in Japan, which I guess
Makes sense.
It's something good for him.
Makes sense. But so you like Ichiro.
Ichiro.
I'm still going to botch that name.
Just
I'm going to call him Mr. Suzuki.
Mr. Suzuki's good
yeah.
for you.
So we've had a look at Mr. Suzuki, who we've all agreed is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, the man who never likes his hair being touched, or head being touched, in Texas. We're going to turn to you, Mr. Seha.
Talking about Adrian Beltre.
Yes.
Yes, right there. Another gentleman that I feel is ticketed for the Hall of Fame as well. An illustrious career. He's 21 seasons in the major leagues, 4-time All-Star, 5-time Gold Glover, 4-time Silver Slugger, which is given to the best offensive player at each position, 2-time Gold Glover, best defensive player at their position. He's also has 3,162 hits, along with 476 home runs, a 286 batting average, 339 on-base percentage, 479 slugging, and an on-base plus slugging of 819.
You know something funny about Adrian Beltre? He spent his entire career on the West Coast. That's a little weird. I mean, he went from the Dodgers to Texas is in the West, in the AL West, and then he went to Seattle as we look.
Usually
right now.
that's a hindrance to guys because their games weren't seen as often
Yeah.
by the media and fans. But however, the numbers right there. First, I feel a Hall of Famer. Do you feel first ballot?
3,000 hits usually gets you in. The only person without in the Hall of Fame with 3,000 hits is Rafael Palmeiro, and we all know why.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I definitely agree. First ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, it's always the fun to see him in the dugout with the Rangers touching his head, and he's always
super
at it.
serious.
My favorite thing is when he moved the batter's box or on deck circle, and then got ejected for it. But that's always one of my big ones. Now I want to turn it to a guy that is coming back. He's been disabled for 433 games. He's actually been out since May 28th of 2016, and that is David Wright. I mean, the man's a 7-time All-Star. He has 1,777 hits. His average is 296. He's got 2 Gold Gloves, 2 Silver Sluggers, 242 home runs, 390 RBIs, and he has 1 World Series appearance. Now, like I said, he has been disabled, but what this man has meant for the Mets organization, and not only the Mets, but I don't know if you guys remember the World Baseball Classic.
Team USA, yep.
Yeah, Captain America, Grand Slam, walk-off.
The original Captain America, it's not T.J. Oshie.
Yeah, that's a different sport.
You're hitting a spot with
yes, we're not going to talk that. But, I mean, I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I do think he is a Hall of Famer, like, towards his end of his career.
So you're saying Mets Ring of Honor?
Well, Ring of Honor for the Mets, but MLB Hall of Famer just in the sense of his last chances to get in. I think they get him in just for that purpose. The other thing is as we've said, he's coming back. Now, it's not likely he will. They're not sure if he's going to play Friday against the Marlins. They're talking more for Saturday. And what they're talking is that they're going to open up the gates early for batting practice. But he has said that he hopes he gets a little bit more of a notice because of his back issues. It takes him a little longer to get used to. I want to ask you, what do you guys think about that?
Absolutely not. He will not make the Hall of Fame. Without a shadow of a doubt, I don't see it. He just did not put up the body of work necessary. Along with that, just too injury prone for my liking. I don't know about you, Art. What's your thought?
He's not even my favorite all-time Met. I mean, you got to go back to in the days of the 80s. You got Dr. K. Doc Gooden and Darryl Strawberry. They had obvious off-the-field issues.
Don't forget Keith Hernandez.
I didn't like Keith Hernandez just because I watched Seinfeld. I don't like him spitting. The Keith Hernandez magical spit episode. But, I mean, David Wright was definitely Mr. Met of this generation. It was him and Mike Piazza. Mike Piazza was first, then David Wright. David Wright wasn't even the best third baseman of his generation. That goes to Chipper Jones. Usually that's a ticket to the Hall of Fame when you see the best at your position for 3, 4, 5 years. He was not. He doesn't get in.
Well, actually, you're wrong there on Chipper Jones, at least in the WAR standpoint. Through age 29, David Wright's WAR was 42.6. Chipper Jones was 39.3.
What have you done for me lately?
To my reply, WAR, what is it good for?
Absolutely nothing.
I mean, I don't disagree, but it's one of those stats that they look at. Because as I have right here, as I've moved it around.
Depending on who's voting, because the old school guys don't care about WAR. They care about homers, RBIs, batting average.
So let's move on to your next one, Art, and I'll let you take it away.
Mine's a guy who doesn't get much respect, but he's been hanging around the league for a bunch of years. 5-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger Award winner, 246 homers, over 1,100 RBIs, 2,000 hits, 295 average, primarily now a DH, Victor Martinez. He should have had a chance to go to the World Series in 2012 with the Detroit Tigers, but he was hurt that whole year, a la Frank Thomas in 05 with the White Sox. Victor Martinez was always one of those guys who would DH, he would play first base, slightly play catcher, but he would always be a professional hitter. He's not a Hall of Famer in my eyes, but he's the Hall of Very Good.
Yeah, I can see that.
I see no argument there with you, Art. I totally agree. That is Hall of Very Good worthy right there. He might make a, if they have a Ring of Honor or something over there.
Does he make it like the old timers voting him in later on?
I could see that
like
with
Alan
the numbers.
Trammell?
Yeah, I could see that coming, but I don't think it'll be just
ballot-wise.
Yeah, ballot-wise.
Now, so we had Victor Martinez. We've gone down the list. Now, the last guy, the only one I believe to win a World Series out of these guys.
2008.
Yeah, and I'll let you take it away.
We're talking about the Phillies, and we're talking about Chase Utley right here. 16 seasons in the major leagues, 6-time All-Star. He also was 4-time Silver Slugger, 259 home runs, 1,025 RBIs, 275 batting average, 358 on-base percentage, 465 slugging, and an on-base plus slugging of 823. I told Art before in the back room we were talking, I'm like, don't let me talk myself into putting him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I know he'd be in Mac McDonald's Hall of Fame, if that's a Always Sunny reference right there.
He's
for
in
you
the Philly
guys.
Fanatics Hall of Fame, that's for sure. Beloved in Philadelphia.
Not Gritties.
What do you think? Hall of Fame?
Hall of very good again. Not the best second baseman of his generation.
I'm not putting him in as a second baseman. I'm putting him in as a hitter, even though he'll go in as a second baseman. I think he's going.
You're just letting everybody in.
Yeah,
aren't
I'm letting
you?
everybody.
Tom's
in.
letting the turnstiles loose.
Yeah. So we were all in agreement on everybody's pick of who's getting in and who's not.
Ichiro and Beltre.
Except David Wright.
Yeah, Ichiro and Beltre guaranteed.
Yes.
Yes, definitely guaranteed. So it's time for our second and final intermission. But when we come back, we're gonna dive into our picks for some of this week's picks here on a show to be named later. We'll be right back.
Rockstar energy drink. It's a party in a can.
Star energy drink. It's a party in a can.
Your child has cancer was the first thing the doctor from St. Jude said.
In just one moment, cancer can change lives forever. Some are told that nothing can be done and to enjoy these final moments. But in that moment, when all seems lost, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital can give them hope. At this moment, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital is saving lives with pioneering research and care. They are changing the way the world treats children with cancer by sharing their discoveries with doctors and scientists everywhere. And they will never have to pay St. Jude for anything ever. At this moment, there are children that wish to be at home in their beds, at their schools with their friends, and outside playing. Please take a moment and join St. Jude in finding cures and saving children. Visit stjude.org or call at 1-800-822-6344.
Honey, I'm home. What's wrong with you?
Where have you been? Fellas, it doesn't have to be this way. Get your boo a bouquet at Emotional Bonding. Let the fine folks at Emotional Bonding throw you a bone and bail you out of the town.
Is she kind of mad? Like this? Or is she really mad?
You forgive me?
Of course. Thank you, Emotional Bonding.
Here at Emotional Bonding,
We don't just deliver flowers, we deliver emotions.
Every 5 minutes, someone in the United States is a victim of bullying by a sober person.
Really? Drinking again? You guys are such losers.
You're such losers. Such losers. Losers.
Bullying by sober people leaves scars that you can't always see.
Losers!
Learn how to be better at stopsoberbullying.org.
Welcome back here on a show to be named later. I'm the man still that can't wait for hockey to start. With me still, as always, is Mr. Art Carone, who probably is getting sick and tired of me talking about hockey talk in the text.
I'm going to spare you.
All right, fine. And unfortunately, Mr. Chris Seha had to leave, and we found a replacement, and it just so happens to be Genovese Slims Gamblino. How you doing, Slims?
Doing fantastic. I can't call it, but you know, I don't like to say too much because they're watching and they're listening.
Now, question for you: where is your cousin today?
Well, right now he's on the trail, and it's a hot trail. He's trying to track down that Andy Hensel, because you know he's not too good with us and the Stucci brothers right now.
Yeah, so I've heard. Now, we have some picks here. You good to do some picks?
Of course, baby.
All
That's
right,
what
you
I
ready
do.
to go, Art?
You might make some money off him.
All right.
Wait, my first question though, what's with the wires? I feel like I'm getting set up here.
No, we're fine. It's just for the TV purposes here.
I'm on the level. You can trust me.
Yeah, we good here. We're not no Andy Hensel.
No. That guy's
Okay.
gone.
All right, so for the first game is Thursday night, tomorrow night's game. It's Minnesota at Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are 7-point favorites. Who you got there, Slims?
Right there, the Rams and the 49.5 under. I got the Rams winning 28-17 right now. The offense is too loaded for the Rams. The Vikings, I don't think they can keep up with that firepower.
Not so fast, my friend, because Adam Thielen's going to go crazy on the secondary. That's missing Peters and Aqib Talib.
I totally agree with that, but my insiders tell me they're going to be fine, and the Vikings might incur some injuries that are unexpected along the way.
Well, Kirk Cousins looked like he was injured last week, losing to Buffalo by 21 at home. Cousins is not going to have another game like that. He was embarrassed last week. Thielen's going to go crazy. Thielen's averaging over 100 yards a game so far. And with these
Mr. Corone, I beg to differ with you, but you realize the Rams are killing their opponents 34-12 right now in average.
They're not going to get embarrassed twice in a row. I got them Vikings covering but not winning.
I humbly disagree.
All right, well, you guys are both in disagreement. Let's see where this next one goes. You have Baltimore in Pittsburgh, where Pittsburgh is 3.5-point favorites, or 3-point favorites.
I got right here, I'm betting Pittsburgh with the over. They will cover. Final score 33-30. And let me give you a little nugget over here, Mr. Corone. The Pittsburgh Steelers have 11-game winning streak in primetime going. I don't see that ending this week against the Ravens.
I agree with you, but Pittsburgh really needs to show me something here because they tie with the Browns. They're 1-1-1. Baltimore leads the division at 2-1. They have no running game, though. If Pittsburgh can make Flacco try to beat them, he can't beat them. Antonio Brown's going to be Big Ben's best friend because he hasn't done anything so far this year. Pittsburgh's going to win going outright.
You know, I like the cut of this guy's jib over here. Where you find him from?
Off the street.
You know, there might be a spot for you in the family.
I'm good with money.
Hey.
There you go. Now the last game we're going to do NFL-wise is the Monday night game. That is Kansas City, who are 4.5-point favorites, in Denver taking on the Broncos.
I'm taking Kansas City, and I'm going with the over right there. They just got Kansas City needs to go ahead and attack via the pass like they've been doing with Mahomes. I just see Mahomes picking on that fourth-string quarterback, Isaac Yodom.
Isaac Yodom?
Yeah,
Isaac Yankum?
Yep. I got KC winning 38-24.
I also have Kansas City, but for a different reason. Pat Mahomes, I wish he was Mitch Trubisky. 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Hey, I wish he was here. Wish he was here, not there. Make that happen. 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I don't see that trend stopping. Denver cannot stop Mahomes. Tyreek Hill's going to go crazy in the secondary. They're going to win 37-10.
All right, well, that's the football, NFL-wise. Let's go into the college football now. We got a big odd one here. We got Baylor versus number 6 Oklahoma, who are 23.5-point favorites.
I'm taking Baylor to cover, and I'm betting the under. I got Oklahoma winning 35, Baylor 21.
All right.
I got Baylor covering as well because Baylor and Oklahoma, they're good with the over every single time. They're like New Orleans and Atlanta in the NFL.
You know, your notes are very similar to mine. I'm tempted to think there might be a mole.
I think you stole my notes.
All right, so let's get into this next game real quick and a few little quick things, who you're taking and everything like that. But quick on it, number 4, Ohio State versus Penn State. Quick, who are you taking?
I'm going an upset Penn State 28 over OSU 24.
Stanford, Notre Dame, who are you taking?
I got Stanford because I don't like you.
All right, fair enough. So I'm taking Notre Dame all day. You got Notre Dame right, thank you. And I think that's about it.
I think you're speaking for him.
Yeah, I am speaking for him. So I'm Tom McKinney. With me is Art Carone. Hopefully Mr. Seha is back tomorrow. Jenna VC, thank you. And this has been a show to be named later. See you tomorrow.
Man, are you still working out?